Hello, beautiful lights, and welcome to another episode of From a Medium's Perspective. Today, I'm going to be taking a look at our chakras and how to balance them. And I'll be sharing in the second half of our show a tale from the other side. It's going to be about, is it a walk-in or what? Then at the end of the show, I'm going to be sharing some techniques for you to develop your own abilities. Today, we're going to be focusing on ways to balance your chakras, but that's kind of the theme of the whole day. So welcome. We're so happy to have you with us. In a previous episode, we talked about the layers of the aura and how to connect them to the chakras, how they represented each other. And today we're going to take a deeper look at the chakras themselves. What exactly are chakras? Well, we all have them. They're an indication of our health and well-being at all levels and in all dimensions. They start with the physical plane and they extend into the etheric realm. And that's kind of heady to think that we have those aspects to ourselves, but indeed we do. You can think of them basically as our energy centers. They run up our body from starting at the base of the spine to going up over our head, and they're considered to be the loci of our prana. Prana is also known as Shakti or Chi, and it's the energy that we have that flows up and down our spine and around and through the chakras through energy pathways that are called Nadi, N-A-D-I. Wikipedia defines a chakra as an energy point or node in the subtle body, which is our non-physical aspect. Chakras are part of the subtle body, not the physical body, and as such, they're the meeting points of the subtle and the non-physical energy channels called nadi. So it's the physical and the non-physical connection, sort of nodes, if you want to think of it that way. Wikipedia goes on and says that nadi, and that's not naughty, it's N-A-D-I, nadi, are channels in the subtle body through which the life force, or our prana, our non-physical parts of us, or vital energy moves. There are various scriptural texts and teachings that present a different number of chakras. There are many chakras in the subtle human body, according to tantric texts. And my experience as well, that there are 7 that are considered to be the most important ones, and those are the ones that we're going to focus on today. The term chakra originated within the Hindu religions, and it was first written in a sacred text called the Brahma Upanishads and the Yoga Tattva Upanishads. Chakra is a Sanskrit word, and it literally translates to spinning wheel, or whirlpool, or vortex. According to ancient yogic traditions, there are 7 major chakras, or energy centers in our body, and each one corresponds to a particular color-coded vibrational frequency in the universe, and those frequencies influence our physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being. The awareness of chakras is not just a Hindu concept. Chinese medicine, New Age thought, Shakta Tantra, Theosophy, Tibetan Buddhism, Islamic Sufism, and Jewish Kabbalistic traditions also incorporate the spiritual concepts relative to them. So it's not just a small part of the world. And anybody out there that's an energy worker or medium or psychic or developing your intuitive gifts would probably be familiar with them in general. When our chakras are perfectly aligned with the universal flow of energy, every aspect of our life becomes harmonious or joyful. We can reclaim perfect health. Our love and passion for life becomes renewed. And health is a state of mind, has to do with our energies being opened. Obviously, we have some physical things that impede our use of our bodies sometimes, but our energy can be completely open and in perfect health if we work on it. To unleash these energies, our energy has to rise. They talk about Kundalini energy as kind of a male-female balance of energies, or the energies of original creation. They often liken it to a serpent that's coiled up at the base of the spine, or maybe a double-stranded DNA that opens up and rises as we open our awareness to things within us and beyond ourselves. As it rises, each chakra opens and begins aligning not only with each chakra, with the next chakra, but also in alignment with the divine mind or the universal mind, God, however you perceive that. And that connects us to our higher selves and the matrix of all that is. And that's why it's of interest to a medium. The function of the chakras is to spin and draw in the universal life force and bring that energy in to keep the spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical health of the body in balance. They are sometimes visualized as lotuses with different number of petals, and their colors are really easy to remember because they're the colors of the rainbow. And I don't know if you learned in school, and I may be dating myself by the use of the way that I remember them, but we were told that the colors were Roy G. Biv: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. I like to think of ourselves as sparks of divine light that separate and precipitate down from the divine source through ever denser dimensions until we become crystallized and manifested in this material realm. Sort of like a crystal of divine light. The light shines through us and refracts into the spectrum of our chakras, that red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. And there are other chakras or energy centers as well, but for today I'm going to focus on these 7, as I mentioned. So what is chakra balance, and why would that be particularly important? Well, an imbalance to your chakra system means that some of your chakras might be overactive and some might be underactive. Some might be too large, some might be too small. They might not be rotating in synchronicity. So chakra balancing doesn't just mean opening our chakras. We hear a lot about that, like, oh, open my chakras. Well, to a degree, you don't want them so open that your energies start leaching out, or you become vulnerable to psychic attack or the thought forms of people that don't have your best interests at heart. So there is a healthy balance. But you also might have some that are closed down. They might be very dense in color and also size, or might not be rotating properly or in harmony with the other chakras. The chakras actually receive and transmit energy, and they represent our psychic, emotional, and physical energies. If you've got too much energy in a chakra or too little, it affects the way that we think, act, or feel. For instance, if there's too little flow through the heart chakra, it could translate into a hard-hearted person or a selfish personality, or it might lead toward a feeling of separateness and isolation, maybe a fear of not being loved. Too much flow through the heart chakra could translate into a person with a AKA bleeding heart, someone who's so generous and compassionate that they can easily be taken advantage of. Too much flow could indicate an empath, giving out so much energy that maybe their own needs are not being met. So that balance is really important in finding that perfect balance between the openness to the outside forces and energies and universal energies and keeping up with our own chakras. It all has to do with bringing the energies of our chakra centers into balance in terms of their aspect. And it's kind of interesting that it isn't just the size of them, it's also their function, how well they're functioning, how clear their energy is, how intense their colors are, how freely they move, and their synchronization of rotation along the nadi pathways. NADI again. Anyway, it's a basic part of our self-care to take care of our chakras, and it's really important in setting healthy energetic boundaries for ourselves. It opens that flow and brings us peace and happiness really effortlessly. It's a wonderful thing to be able to self-soothe and to feel at one with the universe. And when we are at one with the universe and ourselves, then we can sense and receive psychic and mediumistic information much more clearly and without the bias of our ego or intellect. I found an interesting thing on spiritualplatform.org that talked about the chakras and some of the stones and attributes of each of the chakras. And I thought I'd share those with you. And you might be wondering, well, what do stones have to do with the chakras? But there are certain properties that each stone that is suggested has naturally as part of the stone. And when it's combined, if you did a meditation and you laid the stone on top of the particular chakra, or you carried it around with you, it can serve to boost and enhance the energies that you have. People that have high vibration, that are working on their psychic development, or they're increasing their intuition or communicating with spirit, or working with even higher vibrations of healing, or are empathic, we tend to connect up very easily. Sometimes we kind of forget that we're operating a body, and it's really important to be able to ground ourselves, and sometimes these stones can be really helpful. Just because it's a lower chakra doesn't mean it's a less important chakra. So spiritualplatform.org says that the root chakra, that's the one at the base of the spine, gems and minerals that are useful for that chakra are ruby, red jasper, and garnet. And that's a little bit easy to remember because that's our red chakra. So ruby, red jasper, and garnet are all reddish stones. The attributes of that chakra are grounding, good health, survival instincts, vitality, and for men, sexuality. For women, it's the next chakra up because we're the portals of souls, and it's more attached to our creative center. If you're feeling kind of unbalanced, you might not want to enhance the energies of that by using red stones during the time that you're angry or feeling violent or survival based, because that just agitates those aspects. So you might want to reach for some crystals and raise your vibration, or maybe even just go up to the yellow stones and hold on to those because they help you get in touch with your gut instinct and let go of fear, which is actually the root of anger. And for enhancing the root chakra, you can dance or connect to the earth. That's our grounding chakra. The sacral chakra, which is located in the lower belly, just slightly below the belly button, in the womb area for women, the gems and minerals that enhance its capacity are amber and citrine. It's an orange color, so again, easy to remember. Amber and citrine are orange stones. It's our center of creativity. For women, our sexual energy is there. And for all of us, the place of desire and pleasure. When you are unbalanced, it can cause sexual problems, jealousy, possessiveness, uterine or bladder problems, sometimes lower back pain. Not everything is related to our state of mind, but a lot of our health is. So it's good to pay attention to maybe where the source of that root is to our physicality that we're dealing with. Then we have ways of awakening that chakra that are suggested. Sexual healing, trying new ways of expressing yourself very creatively, dance, move your hips, practice yoga, get to getting. Then our gut solar plexus, which is our solar plexus chakra, is between the chest and the navel. And the gems that are associated with that are gold and tiger's eye, yellow stones, citrine sometimes even, yellow like the sun. That solar plexus chakra deals with our will, determination, assertion, personal power, and hearty laughter. It's also our joy center. And it's interesting to me because our joy guides are there to enhance our intellect, which is associated with that chakra as well. It's our actual place of knowing. It's also our place of joy. I love that energy. My guide comes in with a yellow color, and her name is Primrose. Her favorite color is yellow, so maybe it has something to do with that. If you want to awaken that chakra, your gut intuition, your intelligence, and your joy, you can just rub your belly. You know, it works for dogs, right? And cats and other beings. And you can become aware of the energy that radiates from your solar plexus and return to your breath. Really use your diaphragm. That's a way to calm your whole autonomic nervous system and get in touch with what you really think and what you really feel. The heart chakra is obviously in the center of the chest, and the stones that are associated with that are emerald, malachite, and green jade. And yes, it's green. That's our center of unconditional love, forgiveness, compassion, group consciousness, peace, and tolerance. It's a connection from us to others. We talk about the desires of our heart sometimes. Those can definitely create some confusion with our solar plexus chakra, our intellect and our intelligence down there. Or our mind can create some consternation with that too. It is a place of unconditional love and forgiveness. When you're unbalanced, you might be experiencing, again, anger or heart problems. You might be kind of rigid in the way that you deal with people, like categorizing things into good, bad, etc., and not have a lot of tolerance either for others or for yourself. So to awaken that one, they suggest serving other people and loving and taking care of yourself, breathing consciously, and watching tender movies that tug at your heartstrings. I had to laugh at that one because I am just not a big fan of funny little romantic comedies. I feel very manipulated when I watch them. So, and they've actually shown that people that watch romantic comedies tend to be more depressed because life doesn't often add up to some of the scenarios that they see there. I'm not sure that I like that suggestion, but anyway. Throat chakra, that's our blue throat area that deals with communication and expression and eloquence. They recommend lapis lazuli, sodalite, and blue quartz. Again, easy no-brainer. Reach for the blue stones to enhance the energies of the blue chakra, which is the throat. If you're feeling unbalanced in that area, you might have problems communicating your needs or emotions. You might have a restriction in your throat, feeling like you can't really say what it is that you need to say. Even people that are beginning their psychic development might end up not being able to express, they sort of feel moved to speak for another spirit, to talk to other people, and they might feel kind of choked up like that. Or people that are in a religious environment. I used to be in a Pentecostal church, and, tongues and interpretation are the spirit of creation moving through us. And I would feel all choked up there. It's hard sometimes to say what we need. So to awaken that, they suggest that we sing, chant, hum, breathe consciously, kind of be freer in our self-expression. Our third eye chakra or brow chakra is between the eyebrows, and they recommend amethyst as a connection. It's indicated as an indigo blue color, and it's the center of our intuition, our imagination, our visualization, and concentration. If you're having trouble with your third eye, or your third eye is starting to open, you might experience headaches. If you are trying to work with spirit and you keep getting headaches, it's a vibrational adjustment. It has to do with us being in a physical form, hopefully connecting to higher vibrations. That adjustment, it's like an altitude sickness or something. You might want to use amethyst to help you connect more easily. The unbalance in the third eye chakra can affect our physical eyesight and sometimes lack of concentration. The way that you can get over that is to meditate and to use guided visualizations. Or tell yourself a story. Go out there and create an adventure in your mind. picture being somewhere and imagining things happening. That's actually the way to first start developing your gift is fantasy. We say children have just a great imagination, but the more we get into the spirit realm, the more we wonder, was that their imagination or was that actually real? Letting yourself fantasize is another way to open up your third eye. Then there's the crown chakra, which is at the top of the head, and they recommend clear stones like diamonds or quartz crystals. Those are definitely good for connection. I use a particular phantom quartz when I need a little boost of energy in that direction, but I offset it with a piece of numite, Nuumite, which is one of the oldest stones, several billion years old, that they find up there, I think in Greenland. It's the only place they're harvesting it that I'm aware of. I use that to ground to the very bottom of time here on Earth. So for the crown chakra, diamond, quartz crystal, the chakra color is violet, and its attributes are inspiration, wisdom, cosmic consciousness, spirituality, oneness with yourself. And if you're detached from that, you just might be experiencing some depression, lack of grounding or inspiration because you're disconnected from your spiritual source. To aid and abet that, again, meditation and visualization and learning to have some energy work done. There are some edible things that you can do to balance your chakras. Too cool. I was doing some research to kind of beef up my little chat with you today about the chakra. We talked about stones, and that might be a more conventional way to think about enhancing the energy of your chakras, but you might not have thought that food affects our chakras. That's because our chakras are energy vortexes. Even though they're invisible to most of us, you can kind of imagine that they would thrive on energy or prayer or some kind of spiritual stuff, things that you can't see, but they actually can be sustained with our help in the physical body. And so it's really important to feed and nourish the body in order to help support our energies as growing psychics and mediums and to take care of our chakras. We talked in the last half about the 7 chakras, so we'll keep them in that order. And I'm going to give you some information that I found I thought was particularly helpful. And it was on about.com/od/chakras/ss/foods that fuel your chakras. Sorry for the long name, but I like to give credit where credit is due there. So we'll start with the root chakra. The root chakra, again, is grounding energy. It's a good one for those of us that work in spirit to connect with, to balance ourselves. Grounding is actually the first step of psychic self-protection. It's a natural protection that we have if we root ourselves. The root chakra is also about survival, instinct, and anger, located again at the base of the spine. And to enhance your sense of grounding and survival, carrots, potatoes, parsnip, radishes, beets, onions, and garlic are good. And protein-rich foods like eggs, meat, beans, tofu, peanut butter, and some spices are good with the root chakra too. Horseradish, hot paprika, chives, cayenne, and pepper. I don't think I'll have any trouble remembering the chili peppers because some of them are red. Also chives and horseradish. The orange sacral chakra is our chakra of sexual passion, creativity, and manifestation. Sweet fruits like melons and mangoes, strawberries, passion fruit, oranges, coconut. Honey and nuts are good for the sacral chakra. Also, almonds and walnuts. And spices that are good for our orange sacral chakra are cinnamon, vanilla, carob, sweet paprika, sesame seeds, and caraway seeds. So what would we feed our yellow solar plexus chakra to build our gut knowing? That's our intelligence center and our truth gauge. That's where we also carry our self-esteem and self-love. It suggests granola and grains like pastas, breads, cereal, rices, flaxseed, sunflower seeds, etc., and dairy, milk, cheeses, yogurt, and some spices, ginger, mints like peppermint and spearmint, melissa, which I don't know what spice that is, but I thought I'd say it since they included it, chamomile, turmeric, cumin, and fennel. When I read this section, I thought, wow, that's really interesting because I, as a psychic medium, have a real problem with dairy and grains. And that got me to thinking that maybe I have overindulged in those things, and that those things that once enhanced the development of my connection with my gut might best be left behind because it's already strong enough. Because like we said, your chakras can be too large. I'm not saying mine is too large. I'm just saying that there is balance in all things. And so I was looking through the list again, and I noticed flaxseed, ginger, some mints, and turmeric. And those are some things that I've been going to recently for counterbalancing some health offset. So I thought, well, that's interesting. Maybe you could use some of the spices or herbs to kind of offset some of the things if you overindulge in those foods, or you're already pretty strong in that area, or you're having problems being a little bit too generous in that area. Then you could offset it with some of the things that you aren't consuming in your diet with that chakra, and maybe that would help balance it. The green heart chakra, they suggest leafy vegetables, spinach, kale, dandelion greens, yummy, yummy, and yummy. Air vegetables, and I think they mean those that grow above the ground, broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, celery, squash, again, yummers, green teas, and basil, sage, thyme, cilantro, and parsley. And I wonder if we crave foods that would balance our chakras. Isn't that an interesting idea, that we might need the foods that support the strength of the particular chakra there? The blue throat chakra, which is our communication, our authentic voice, and speaking our truth, they recommend liquids, generally water, fruit juices and herbal teas, and tart or tangy fruits like lemons, limes, grapefruit, kiwi, etc., and some other tree-growing fruits, apples, pears, plums, peaches, and apricots. No problem, no argument there. I might be able to get my throat chakra open someday here. For spices, they recommend salt and lemongrass for the throat chakra. As I was reading their list, I thought, well, I wonder what they recommend for the really high ones. All of our chakras are important. It's not just the ones that are higher in vibration. We have to have that full spectrum because we're here separated into those colors on Earth. When we go back into the light, we don't have our chakra centers quite the same way as we do when they're manifested here in the physical world. So don't neglect some of your chakras in favor of others. Our indigo chakra that's at our brow, or sometimes it's called the third eye chakra, is of course our psychic ability. It's visualization, memory, which can involve past life memory, and clairvoyance. They recommend dark bluish colored fruits like blueberries, red or black grapes, blackberries and raspberries, and red wine. Don't overindulge in that. And do not work under the influence of alcohol or drugs, please. And grape juice. Nothing wrong with a glass of wine with dinner or in moderation, but not when working with spirit, not when you're going to be channeling or trying to connect, because it just opens your portal too far. Some spices that are really good for developing your psychic ability are lavender, poppy seed, and mugwort. The violet or gold crown chakra is our connection to the divine, and it's sort of our spiritual communication center. Not too surprisingly, they recommend fasting or detoxing. They recommend incense, and smudging herbs. And of course, we don't eat incense or smudging herbs. These would be something that you would burn and add to the air around you. Sage, copal, myrrh, frankincense, and juniper. I think juniper is pretty poisonous. I might be wrong there, don't know. And please note, of course, that if you have an allergy to some of the foods that are recommended for a particular chakra, you definitely shouldn't try to consume them. But it might be an indication that your energies there are already sufficient, or you might be better able to operate within that chakra without the foods that enhance its actions. Also, if you find yourself not eating enough of a particular food, you might find that that chakra needs to be supported and enhanced energetically. Balance in all things. So feed your chakras properly. You might find suggestions for spices or herbs that are missing. They could counterbalance maybe eating too many of the things that are suggested for a chakra. You can feel it out and see if you sense a difference as you adjust your diet to support your chakras. Now, you know, I'm a psychic medium and minister. I am not a qualified dietitian or physician, so please do consult with a qualified professional before making any life changes through dietary measures to ensure that what you're planning to do doesn't conflict with any of your medical needs or a sound dietary practice. Research and common sense are often the better part of valor. All right. So now I'd like to share with you that tale from the other side. I really respect my contact with spirit. I love working with spirit and take it as an important duty and avocation and calling. So I never minimize the importance of my contact with spirit. I had a call recently from someone who was very concerned because their partner had gone through a very near-death experience. And this is something that you see sometimes with people that have gone through heart surgery or had a near-death experience. Sometimes they come back and it's almost like a personality change has happened. And it's not always for the positive. Part of that can be because of the anesthetics and things that they're exposed to. Drugs do open our portal. For centuries and millennia, people have been using natural herbs to access the other realms. I don't advocate that, and I'm very much an advocate of a pure, altered state so that your experiences are safe and in your hand and controlled by you and your guides. That's the way I think it should be done. Anyway, sometimes we do have to take medications, and sometimes we do have to undergo surgery or have something happen that's catastrophic, and we can't avoid that. So in this case, this person had encountered an allergen. I'm trying to keep it generic enough that it wouldn't pinpoint who it is because I don't tell stories on my clients. They had an anaphylactic reaction and they had this near-death experience. Actually left their body, saw it below, the whole thing. And when they came back, they were really particularly nasty. My client asked me, do you think that there's been a walk-in? What they meant by that was, did I think that another spirit had occupied their body? Now, I really get kind of the creepers when I think about another person taking over anybody's body during a time where we're in the physical body. It does happen. An extreme example of that would be possession, which is just an aggressive invasion of someone else's energy. A walk-in would be actually where someone is pushed out of their body. Then that soul or spirit would be operating the physical body of the person there. In my mind, a walk-in would be a higher being coming in. Then why not just channel them? So what I had felt that it wasn't that there had been a replacement of sorts, but that because they had been given epinephrine and had opened their portal, and that there were attachments that happened. Because, you know, when you go to the eye doctor and they put drops in your eyes and your pupil opens up and you can't close it back down naturally because of the medication that your eye has been subjected to. That kind of is like what happens when we use drugs or alcohol. It opens our portal too wide, and we don't have the natural elasticity in our boundary, our psychic boundary, the edge of our auric field. And so there were some attachments that had invaded. And it wasn't really like a possession. It definitely wasn't a walk-in, but it was like a turbulence at the edge of the auric field, like a fight to get in charge of the energies of that particular individual. And the individual was a very strong person and very in tune, generally speaking. So this aggression was very atypical for them. I just recommended that they focus on the higher vibrations of love and light and to call on those energies and to sort of reset their auric boundaries. I just thought that would be interesting to share today. That was our tale from the other side. As far as balancing our chakras, there are lots of ways to do that. You can balance them with singing bowls. You can use flower essences or essential oils or stones or food, but pretty much nothing beats an affirmation or a meditation. I am going to not be able to probably include the meditation I had planned for you, but I would like to include the affirmation that I chose for you today. And I will promise to share it in another episode. Perhaps our next one, I'll use that as one of the exercises. And next time, I'm going to be taking a deeper look at clairvoyance. But I did want to share our affirmation. If you can kind of be quiet within yourself for a minute and just realize that you do have this sort of rainbow of energy centers running up your spine, affecting both the front and the back of us. They're sort of like wheels or balls, discs, however you want to picture them. It's sometimes suggested that you think of them as face up, like a wheel that's facing up and going in a clockwise direction. I don't actually like to restrict people. The affirmation is for the root chakra: I am a divine being of light. I am peaceful, protected, and secure. The sacral chakra: I am radiant, beautiful, and strong, and enjoy a healthy and passionate life. The solar plexus chakra: I am positively empowered and successful in all my ventures. Heart chakra: love is the answer to everything in life. I give and receive love effortlessly and unconditionally. Throat chakra: my thoughts are positive and I always express myself truthfully and clearly. Third eye chakra: I am tuned in to the divine universal wisdom and always understand the true meaning of life's situations. And crown chakra: I am complete and one with the divine energy. That is this week's show. I hope you've enjoyed it. In our next episode, as I said, we're going to be taking a deeper look at clairvoyance. And you might wonder, well, why are you spending a whole show on that? You will see. It is a deep topic. And I'll be sharing another tale from the other side and offer the meditation that I wasn't able to get to today, and perhaps another exercise to help develop your psychic intuition. Thank you so much for joining us. If you would like some more information, you can find it at my website at mediumtracylockwood.com. You can also reach me directly if you wish by phone. I love to text and also talk. My phone number is 540-998-9789. I do not offer readings off the cuff. I only offer them by appointment. We'll see you next week for a view of life from a medium's perspective. And just remember, it is never inappropriate to be kind. And without integrity, you have nothing.